Hello, Sarah, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Hi, hello to
Cassiano?
everybody.
Cassiano, are you there?
I'm here. Ciao.
Ciao. Wolfgang, are you there?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good
Pleasure to meet
afternoon.
you.
Nice to see you all. Now I can see your faces. Just collecting the final people here. Sorry for the delay. I don't know if you've been following the keynote speeches, but the second one was a bit too long.
Yes, we
And so I really apologize for this delay. Yeah, Fabio's here too. So we are about to start. Just let me check the time. It's 4:42. So we're running a good half an hour late. Apologies for that. In any case, just a quick introduction from myself and on the topic of this thematic workshop today. We have 3 experts here and 3 experts online. My name is Gianluca Lentini. I'm a senior researcher. I'm originally a climatologist. I started studying the mountain areas from the climatological point of view. And all of a sudden I discovered that in mountain areas people live. So I just moved to the most, to the part related to territorial development and digital development for local populations. I've been intensely involved in the concept of smart villages over the last 8 years. Representing Consortio Poliedra, we have contributed to develop a definition of what's a smart villages, both from a qualitative point of view and from a quantitative point of view. And one of the platforms, just to introduce the main issue of this table today, that we have developed was an open platform dedicated to assess quantitatively how to gauge and measure the level of maturity, digital maturity of mountain areas. And I think that we sort of succeeded in doing was to keep this platform durable over 8 years and throughout 2 different European projects. One of the issues we are going to discuss today is how to make these open platforms, these hidden treasures coming from different EU projects and strategies, durable, useful, used, friendly, and sustainable. I'm going to present, well, we are going to listen to your presentation, and then hopefully we will have some hints for the EUSALP strategy at the end. As I mentioned in my email this morning, we are going through the order on which I received your names, and I will start with the canton of Grisons, Polo Poschiavo, Graubünden, Grigion, Grigione, Cassiano Luminati. But you're talking about heritage, a platform dedicated to heritage. So 10 minutes for you, Cassiano, please.
Yes, thank you very much. And sorry for not being there, but it was like a sudden decision due to family problems. So I'm not there, but I would have loved to be there because I like Lienz. But this time it didn't work out. So I will talk about heritage. You're right. That's a topic where I'm working on since many years. And I'm talking about a platform that we developed in the framework of corporations that are started in the beginning of the 2000s with the Regione Lombardia in the framework of cross-border project. And the platform I'm presenting is called Intangible Search. I will put the link in the chat for those that are online, and then I will quickly share with you just a sneak peek of this platform, just to have an idea how it looks like. But you can navigate if you have a tablet or a computer or a smartphone over there. You can go on intangiblesearch.eu and give a look to that. So this platform is an inventory of intangible cultural heritage. As I said, it has been developed in the framework of several projects that were started in the framework of Interreg Italy Switzerland, mostly strategic projects. Since 2009, we started to discuss the development of an inventory for intangible cultural heritage. And in 2010, we started to work programming this platform, and in 2012 it went public, and it has been continually updated and expanded, and it's still still working, and it's still fed with materials. As I said, Interreg Italy Switzerland was the cooperation framework where we worked in with this platform with 2 strategic projects, and then after that, we decided to go on a more alpine level. So with the Alpine Space Project Alp Foodway, we brought this platform and extended it to the whole alpine intangible heritage. And after that, we continued to work with different projects to feed the platform with new contents and also new sections. And it's important to mention that this inventory now and intangible search is one of the central tools for the multinational candidature for the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage. That is one of the strategic activities also for Action Group 6 in the framework of the of EUSALP. So the platform itself, it has different features. It's what you see now is the map, and then you have a lot of documentation, research that is backing that. If you open the documents, you have this different narrations of traditions of the Alpine area. Intangible heritage is living traditions, mostly in different sections. The sections are defined by the UNESCO, and I think the best thing is you go inside and navigate and discover a bit the platform. What makes this platform really interesting and distinctive? It's a participatory platform. So communities, groups, and individuals can actively propose and document new practices. It is structured that user can explore the inventory by category, as I told you before. You see the categories here on that side. And by geographical area, by tags, by authors, and so on. And the third is that it's multilingual. It's available in Italian, English, French, German, and Slovenian. Now you don't see the Slovenian part because at this moment we are just making a new development of the platform, and so it's some parts are not online at the moment because there's some work going on in the back of the platform. It's also integrated with Query Lab. It's a system that allows comparative research between different intangible heritage inventories worldwide. This inventory is worldwide best practice. It's recognized by UNESCO as a best practice. It was one of the first inventories in this field. When we developed the project, the Alp Foodway project, we added a lot of documents that are connected to Alp Foodway, and so they are very interesting also to follow. I can show you here. This is the part that is focused on the food heritage and not only the intangible cultural heritage in general, but food heritage. So we have the map with the things. There is a connection to some other elements that are explaining this heritage. So that's why it's very important for the nomination. So here you have another section where we have traditional values translated in contemporary values and so on. So it's really a working tool, an explanation tool, a communication tool for all these aspects. What is also very interesting here is it's an appealing, usable, open platform. So, and for the EUSALP context, it goes beyond the life cycle of the individual projects that contributed to develop it or the strategies that we are using. So it's and the question here also is how to make it long-term commitment for this platform. So I think one element which is very important, and this platform is connected very strongly with the Regione Lombardia, is that there is a long-term political commitment of Regione Lombardia for that platform. So that means that they are pioneers as Regione Lombardia in the safeguarding of intangible heritage. They have a law about that. So the platform is anchored also at that level. And the framework and the cooperation network that we developed through the years with the projects is nurturing the platform with new contents continuously. So a long-term institutional commitment is very important. So anchoring it somewhere in some of the institutions to give financial support also beyond the project lifetime, because at the end you have a lot of maintenance of the servers and the database where it is and the updated of that. Then what is very important is this participatory and open model. So this platform must remain open to community contribution. I think this is a general discussion for these platforms that we are developing. So for us, it's allowing the heritage to evolve and grow in this. What is also very important is this, it's user-centered and it's multilingual. So I think when we started, it was not so obvious making a multilingual platform in 2010. Today, it's easier because the development has been very fast in this regards. But this makes this also for our Alpine context, this platform accessible, attractive, and adapted to our necessities. And the governance goes beyond the projects. I think is also very important. The commitment of all the partners that worked at the project are going beyond the project. So there are a lot of interest in working with this platform and continuous developing the platform with the support of course, of Regione Lombardia, which hosts the platform and is let's say the legal owner of the platform. And the open access and visibility. So I think it's also to promote open data principles and also using communication strategies to ensure that the platform is used and known. So that's also very important for me. So in conclusion, because I think the 10 minutes are already gone, is
you're basically there, yes.
Yeah, so is this for this partners that now are many that worked on the platform, we are showing an innovation and community participation through the platform, so we can have an institutional vision that can come together on this platform. And I think this is a bit the secret of the existence of this platform now almost for more than 10 years, which is for something that started with a project a very long period, and it's something that is really living as the heritage that we are safeguarding. So that's a bit my message, and I hope I answered a bit the questions that we are exploring in this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cassiano. Actually, your speech was very enlightening. Indeed, the political commitment by the first initiators of a platform is paramount. And when a platform encounters the political will to keep it alive, it's a good way to keep it to maintain it. And also the UNESCO anchoring is a big thing in this specific case of the intangible heritage. Thank you for your speech. And then now we move to Fondazione Bruno Kessler in the autonomous province of Trento with Sarah Steinberger. She will be talking about a platform called Skyline, but with a different spelling, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
For the hydrogen, I think.
Yes, it's related to hydrogen. I'm going to share my screen so we can have a look together. Thank you, Darren. Thank you very much for welcoming in and to giving me the time to present our platform. Since with the difference from the intangible search, our is very recent, so it came out in October 2024, and I'm going to bring you Skyline, so it's more related to hydrogen. So we're going to switch a bit the theme of the platform. While what is Skyline? It's an online platform that was developed around the Interreg Amethyst project on the Alpine space. So it relates to the nations and to the areas of the Alpine space. And it has a very clear mission to share knowledge on the latest initiatives and technologies for green and low carbon hydrogen Alpine regions. So the platform, which we will see soon, I'm going to give you some slides of presentation. It's focused on the green hydrogen opportunities, strategies on the Alpine area, but also on mapping the projects. We played with words, so the concept wants to bring the terms of sustainability and innovation, while we also took the natural line of the mountains, the skyline, and brought in the green hydrogen H2 into the term. So it's again a play we commonly use in hydrogen projects using the high to develop a name that was short, let's say clear, and that we could use for promotion. But the platform itself wants to empower decision makers, so to bring all information developed through the project Amethyst in one single repository with policies, documents, case studies mapped through Amethyst project to enhance the technical knowledge. As you will see, the key feature, it has also some specific tools that can be very useful to the technical staff that wants to develop a hydrogen-related project, or to the public authorities with policy recommendation, and of course, engage citizens, so to bring members of the community understand what's a hydrogen ecosystem, but also what are the policies in place, and if they want to try also the tool, even if it's more the target is more specific. So the clear features, the key features are a map of green hydrogen related projects around the Alpine space. We have mapped around 28 projects with 93 different sites around Europe, where hydrogen is developed, from capacity building to infrastructure to producing it. But we have also gathered all information on the strategies, the policies that can support territories for the decarbonization, from sustainable energy, same as my center, but as well specifically on the hydrogen policies that are in place. While online today, this is news from we developed it and published it yesterday evening, is it's a technical economic simulation tool, which is useful for technical staff specifically to simply implement and try the feasibility of a technology in place if they have, for example, a surplus of renewable energy. And while coming soon, one of the key features will be the policy guidelines for the development of some energy for the policies of the green hydrogen across the Alps. And this, we count on publishing it in late July, to the end of the project, more or less, because Amethyst, as you'll see, will be finishing in October, but we'll have a look at now. So I wanted to switch some slide and show you what is Skyline. In the first place, you can have the QR code if you want to have a look from the room, skyline.eu with the H and in the between. And I wanted to just move the slide. Please let me just jump from another. Are you seeing still my screen?
Yes. We see
because I have buttons covering it. So again, this is skyline.eu, and we try to give it some color that were not strictly related to the green hydrogen, which is commonly used. So while we're developing, we discussed which could be the let's say the design of it. So we try to give them more important information on the map, on the projects, and about the project. while also giving a simple information and graphic statement on the hydrogen ecosystem to explain it, because it might not be that direct. And what does it mean? So we developed an infographic with its readability, with cards that could explain what are the elements of a hydrogen ecosystem, such as available renewable sources, the hydrogen production sites, or green hydrogen transport and distribution. But part of the hydrogen ecosystems are also the capacity building, so the staff, the research and the development, while the policies and strategies, and knowledge and sharing education, while there are other similar concepts for transportation or for tourism. This is especially because the Interreg Alpen space, we are part of the Amethyst project, is also working towards with case studies from touristic areas. So one of the main features showing, we again return to the map concept and showing projects around the world as intangible heritage and tangible search. So we have on this side a hydrogen project that can be shown around and read through the categories for production, infrastructure, capacity building, the territories, which are for part of the project and of the Alpen space, areas specifically Alpen space, or technology readiness level. While also we developed also some tags for if technical staff want to search for specific tags such as an electrolyzer. But for example, if you have a look at infrastructure in Austria, we can have a look at the map around and divided by categories. This is the content we search for the Power 2H Kufstein in Kufstein, Tyrol, and the categories, the technology readiness level, where you can read all about the project around that has been gathered with the project websites and connections, project status, or the other connected points. This is because sometimes a project, we have 28 projects, but there might be much more sites, such as where the project is being active. While all the map can be also read through another point of view, so going from a list of projects, and all of them can be searched again across tags and categories and listed across by returning to the same page. Well, another key feature that I was mentioning before is the territories, so the information across the policies around hydrogen ecosystems on the European scale, but also on the each countries involved has been searched and information stored, where we built a single page for all strategies, and those are being uploaded still from the national point of view, from the perspective of a strategy readiness level. Where are we in Europe with the strategies on hydrogen, and particularly for also some notions on several areas of the Alpen space, such as Lombardy, for example. We have one update on Trentino, which came very recently, so we're going to update the information. All the guidelines that might be also used for technical users are then the policy recommendation that we are going to be developed very soon and published, while we try to develop for to be presented during the conference, also the H2Fast evaluation tool, which, as I was mentioning, is assessing the financial viability of hydrogen project. So this is a simulator tool that might be downloaded directly, and when developed the concepts, and where we wanted to display the information, we thought of giving all the information very clearly and very frequently asked question narrative, let's say, where everybody can understand its principles, why use it, but what they will need to use it, for example, what they will find in the download tool, in the sections, and what will they be able to develop with the tool. So giving, of course, the download, giving the download location, but also presenting to the technical staff, to the users of the platform, to the policymakers, also the possibilities of what the tool, which is with a simulator, with guidelines and a video, can also do, but what are the scenarios, the most common use cases where they can use it. For example, with simple cards or with funding available, they can use H2FAST to identify the planned solution.
Sarah,
Yes.
Sarah, we are approaching the end of your presentation, but I wanted to ask you a question regarding the future outlook of this platform. It's of course incredibly interesting and filled with important details on hydrogen technology all over the Alps. But what are the assets of your platform? They make it durable, sustainable, used now and usable in the future. What do you think about this?
So I moved back to my presentation and to go beyond the amethyst, we've seen that we're gonna reach the guidelines in the end, but also the asset when developing it, we thought of having more projects is mandatory. We need to expand it, upload it. So we started with the project by inserting a form to make it more to increase the project that are presented, to gather more projects. So if you have one, feel free to update us on the project. There is a form available into the amethyst, but we also thought of defining it when maintaining it and updating it by since the beginning. So with the beginning of the project, we thought of there should be a partner taking the maintenance, taking effort that goes beyond the Amethyst project and keeps maintaining, gives staff effort practically for the platform. So it has been asked from the Center for Sustainable Energy. We are also very much involved in projects concerning hydrogen, but we also thought of having contact points for each area of the Alps and partners of the project where we could gather more information. So these are partners of the project which can be inserted as further contact points. And some final remarks are, we started developing since its beginning, we gave it a look and a strategy for the platform to stay beyond Amethyst, probably, if possible, continue with next projects, but also keeping in mind that we needed a backend to be for the researchers that will be updating information, presenting projects, but also developing the architecture that can be modular and can be extended in the future. I hope I gave you the answer you expected.
Yeah, expansion, maintenance, increasing the reach and keep it live and used and usable. Thank you for your presentation, Sarah. We now move to, I understand, the sort of joint presentation on the adaptation to climate change platform developed by EURAC Research Center and the Environmental Federal Agency of Austria. Is that correct?
Yeah, the platform is developed by them, but
yeah.
We as EURAC Research are co-leading the AG8, so the action group, EUSALP Action Group 8.
And I will give you the floor, Fabio Carnelli, for the presentation from your side.
Yeah, because in terms of sustainability, so the Action Group 8 is on risk governance within EUSALP, and it's because the platform has been further developed during the last work plan as a flagship initiative, but it doesn't work. Yeah, our action group has the objective to contribute to a strategic, sustainable, and climate resilient development of the Alpine macro region, and that's why So we are aiming at improving and enhancing policies and management strategies for improving both climate change adaptation and risk management. So this platform is important because we act as a sort of focal point for knowledge exchange and also experiencing change in terms of finding a common and joint approach to challenges in the field of climate change adaptation and risk management. So for example, during our last working period that will end this year, we have chosen the Kappa platform, so the climate change adaptation platform for the Alps, as our flagship initiative, and we defined a roadmap to further develop the platform, making it a central tool for knowledge. Then, to say that we also did other activities on nature-based solutions, like international workshop. We also had some workshops to elaborate policy recommendations to improve the vertical governance of climate change adaptation, and also other policy recommendations to improve natural hazard management. And the aim is to put then every document, every policy recommendations, every reports out of these workshops results within the group into the platform. But now I give the floor to Wolfgang to better explain how it works and what it is, the Kappa platform. So we can, yeah, it's finished. So you can give the floor to the online.
Okay, thank you very much, Fabio. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Then
Yes.
next thing I'll do, I'll try to share my screen. It's been a time since I used Zoom, but shouldn't be an issue.
That was a success, it looks like, Wolfgang.
Okay,
Yep.
then I'll switch to presentation mode. Also working, if you can give me a
Perfect.
sign. Okay, thank you very much. So, Kappa, nice acronym that stands for Climate Adaptation Platform for the Alps. And the two cartoons somehow express in a visual way what the problem is that any kind of, let's say, knowledge portal or platform tries to respond to. There actually isn't a lack of information out there. Certainly not about climate adaptation. It still continues to be a very dynamically evolving knowledge field and action field. And it's rather that one feels often like being confronted by mountains of studies, reports, papers. So a vast plethora of information and knowledge that continues to grow by the day, by the hour. So to say, and one risks really to get lost in information, like this decision maker on the second cartoon here. So that also was the basic starting point for the mission and the vision behind the Kappa portal. It still is the one and only transnational knowledge platform in the topic of adaptation to climate change, climate risk management, disaster risk reduction in the Alpine macro region. What is it? It is an online repository, also a directory of knowledge resources, a digital infrastructure for knowledge provision, knowledge transfer. And the goal is, of course, to give users and adaptation actors in a quick way organized, guided, structured access to information that is hopefully usable, useful, and relevant, and has been pre-selected and edited by experts on the topic. One point maybe, in the meantime, there's quite a nested landscape of climate adaptation portals out there in Europe, from the European level with Climate Adapt down to the national platforms and some regional ones. And the transnational level was the gap back then, and in other macro regions it still continues to be the gap, which we try to fill. Most importantly, of course, because the transnational cooperation regions, also in EU policies, as we know, they have a special role. When defining our primary target group, we were well aware that probably we won't directly reach, let's say, the policy makers, the decision makers. It won't be the mayor, it won't be the minister who uses such kinds of portals. We think it's always the experts, the professionals, the practitioners, the adaptation coordinators, including in particular in public administration, and we try to address primarily these, acting on the assumption that this group acts as kind of agents and multipliers towards, let's say, the decision makers in the more narrow sense of the word. I give you a fragmentary overview of what the platform offers, and to some extent I try to answer the one part of the workshop question. So it kind of illustrates our approach to trying to be appealing and usable. And yeah, we know we always can get better, and we're well aware that some potentials are still a bit underexploited. Let's try to say this. The coverage of knowledge items in the inventory, it's comprehensive. It has to be, because climate change adaptation is an extremely cross-cutting issue, and at the same time a multi-level issue. So of course the resources cover all types of climate hazards, of climate impacts, all types of adaptation solutions or measures, from green to gray and structural, and especially a whole range of sectors with a special emphasis on multi-sectorial and cross-sectorial resources in order to support mainstreaming of adaptation into sector policies. And a second important element next to the sectors for organizing the knowledge inventory and for allowing accurate search and retrieval is what we call knowledge domains. So these are kind of thematic clusters of adaptation know-how according to main steps in the adaptation policy or process cycle. So really ranging from climate scenarios and assessing the climate vulnerabilities, impacts and risks, down to practice examples of implemented adaptation measures and monitoring and evaluating progress. As we aim at being relevant, so of course the imperative is relevance always over comprehensiveness, because otherwise you could simply replace any portal by a Google search. We have a set of relevance criteria that kind of act as a filter for the items that are eligible to enter the knowledge base, and they try to, of course, to have this particular transnational, alpine, mountain, cross-sector focus, things like that. This is a picture of the landing page of the portal, and basically we offer two main entry paths. The first one is classic inventory search via a search mask with predefined search terms that can be combined in flexible ways by changing operators and from N to R and vice versa. And of course, there's a key text search, and it allows you to quite quickly narrow down and focus and zoom in your searches to arrive, let's say, at the handful of results that hopefully will be most helpful according to your needs. And the second entry path is, it's maybe a bit of a distinguishing element to other portals. We call it thematic collections, so kind of pre-compiled items according to adaptation topics or adaptation themes. This is still very much also work in progress. We have implemented, let's say, a couple of teaser collections, but with the help of AG8, we're currently working on expanding these topical collections of items and in enhancing also, let's say, the visual presentation. And the range of topics is totally open, and the platform even allows registered users to build and compile their own collections for specified themes and to submit them to publications. Searching and finding is one thing. Displaying, showing the search results is another important step. And what we developed is kind of tiered levels of results display with increasing level of detail. So the first is a simple list of items in the form of metadata records that match your search terms. These are accompanied by a web GIS map visualizing the geographic area that is covered by your results. Then you can select, okay, if you think that sounds interesting, and open an inline preview, so a condensed view of the metadata record with the most importantly the abstract. And if you think, oh, that really sounds interesting, you can open the full metadata record, and from each of these views, of these steps, you can directly access and download the original resource, either from the database in the background of Kappa or via linking to an external website. The next feature answers a bit to our approach to being open. With the help of AG8, we during the last years we developed and implemented an online editor that allows basically everyone to enter records about their own, let's say, favorite resources that they would like to share with the Alpine community. It's an online fill-in mask supported by step-by-step online guidance, and of course there's a quality assurance procedure on the side of the portal management in the background. All you need to do is register and apply for external editor status, and then you can start sharing resources. Now, closer to answering the workshop questions, first I think I have to inform you that Kappa is typically originally a project-based portal, like I think most of the others that were presented before, developed by the Alpine Space Project C3 Alps and launched already in 2014. Then afterwards, Kappa has been further developed and further deployed under the umbrella of AG8 in EUSALP, has been since all these years part of the AG8 work plan, and as Fabio already mentioned, During the last years, it is so-called strategic flagship initiative of AG8. When we say Kappa, who is it? Who are the actors? There's of course a portal management team, which the platform management and the content responsibility is the climate resilience adaptation team in my agency, and we have IT support for all IT developments and technical maintenance. And this portal team is embedded, of course, in the Action Group 8 structure. We have a task force that acts as kind of a steering group. We collaborate with ongoing other Alpine space projects that have done a great job recently in submitting and publishing new contents. Yeah, and then of course the user community. This is just a look at the roadmap that Fabio mentioned, where I think we are on a good way in implementing it. And this is just to give you an impression what we're working on. Partly, of course, enhancing the contents, partly enhancing functionalities and user value, and working on the visual design, and investing, of course, also in outreach, communication, visibility, to get new editors and contributors, and of course, new and additional users. And we're also exploring the feasibility of establishing some cross-harvesting, cross-portal connections. Yeah, let's see how that works. How about durability maintenance? To a large extent, of course, it's always connected to resources and financing. And let's say up to now, or since the initial C3 Alps project, my agency has done basic content enhancement and the maintenance as kind of in-kind services. But of course, this is not sufficient to really go ahead and develop new features. So during the last years, a couple of Alpine space projects in connection with AG8, with the support also of the Austrian ministry that is co-leader of AG8, have provided project-based funding for further developing. We still have a running Alpine space project, but I think I don't need to explain this is the difficult road. This is really stony, because after each and every project you have to start looking how to continue. And basically that's the strategic goal of this AG8 flagship initiative, to build more shared ownership and to build more institutional commitment of the AG8 members. Commitment also to contributing to the maintenance and the further development of the portal by entering into some kind of burden sharing solutions as regards, for instance, putting in work time, some basic co-financing. And yes, it is an option, of course, to incorporate further work and further rollout of Kappa in some new project proposal. But of course, this has to be very well justified. You cannot just say, we would like to have a project that maintains an existing platform. This is, of course, not sufficient and not eligible. Recommendations. Actually, I'm myself in need of recommendations, but what we learned so far, we think that building on user-driven content enhancement via this online editing tool, we think it's a good approach, but nevertheless, it still needs constant effort to get people to contributing. So it's no self runner, so to say. What proved during the last 1.5 years successful was cooperating with other projects, because that contribute contents, and we will have to see how this this cooperation with other thematically related portals works out. On the one thing, let's say content sharing across harvesting on the one side. On the other hand, of course, you also have to think about, let's say, sharing the market. Having too many portals that target the same target groups, that doesn't make any sense. Usability, attractiveness, I think it's obvious.
We are moving to the conclusion, Wolfgang.
Yeah, it's the last bullet point.
Perfect.
Involving the user community in co-designing, I think it's obvious, but something that needs effort and resources. Trying to have sustained interactions with user community. For example, end of last year's, we implemented an online user survey that helps us in setting the priorities for further development. And now 2 points on the wishing list. Maybe, well, if I'm allowed to utter some wishes, some support from the technical support structure of EUSALP, at least as regards and we're having some, I have to say, some as regards communication, outreach, visibility, and well, some basic support in terms also of co-funding. I don't know, from the EU level, from EUSALP. We would not say no. Yeah, so far my wishes, also Christmas is far away. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Fabio and to Wolfgang for this very comprehensive presentation. Quite a few items have already been covered this afternoon.
I have to stop.
In this sense, we have, again, the importance of political commitment. At the beginning with Cassiano, it was related to one specific region. Now it is related to the whole AG group and possibly EUSALP that maintains this climate adaptation platform. Also, in terms of usability, it is very interesting to have the relevance criteria, the different displays of results that can appeal to different types of users. And then I definitely agree with you. Maintenance is fine, but also expansion is also fine. And maintenance comes with finances and with technical support and with cross-use and market sharing with other platforms wherever this is possible. So far, lots of food for thought, and also, like in the case for the Skyline platform, we have a platform which is filled up with extremely up-to-date and interesting content for specialists and professionals, which is by itself the greatest asset. So the point is how we can communicate the treasure that there is in platforms like yours. We now move to Switzerland, to James Reynolds from the Swiss Federal Institute of Aquatic Science and Technology. You bring us to Swiss lakes or to Alp lakes more in general?
Yeah, it works with the microphone. Yeah, so I'm going to talk briefly about Alp Lakes. So Alp Lakes is a web application for visualizing real-time lake conditions across the European Alps, using data coming from a variety of sources, from models, satellite data, and in situ measurements. If anyone wants to look at the site itself, the link is there. It's alplakes.eawag.ch, but there's a QR code at the end that you can scan. Yeah, that works. So just to jump straight in and talk about some of the key features. This is the homepage you'll see when you go on Alp Lakes, Alp Lakes has a wide variety of stakeholders. So we try to be attractive to members of the public who are just interested in going for a swim, through scientists who want to use this data for their research, to lake managers that are making decisions based on the conditions of the lake. And our concept for this is not a new invention, but nested complexity, where at a high level, it's appealing to the general public, and the deeper you delve into the site, the more technical it becomes. Our main product is lake temperature forecasts. So we use a combination of 3-dimensional and 1-dimensional models. These models are developed by the research community and run by us on the platform. We currently have 3D models for 12 lakes. This is predominantly just the bigger lakes in the Alpine region, but we have 1D models for more than 100 lakes across the Alpine space. We also process data from satellites. This is one of the easiest ways to get geospatial coverage of water quality information. This, again, is processed in near real time. So that being maybe 1 or 2 days delay, depends on how often the data is available for download. And we have an open source Python package, which can be used for producing this data. All of our data and code is open source, including the models and the satellite data processing pipelines. So from the website, you can directly download the lake models and use them in your own projects. You can also download the results. We have an API which allows you to slice and extract subsets of the data such that you only need to download the data that is relevant to you. You don't have to go diving through terabytes of simulation data to find what you're looking for.
Diving being the right term for it.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I just wanted to pick out the key features there, but we have many more data sets available in the platform. This includes live measurements from the lakes, the water levels, scientific specific data sets, could be water quality related or reflectance, a whole variety of things. Bathymetric data, long-term trends. This can be just the conditions of the lakes over the last 50 years, but it can also be, for some lakes, the projections under different climate scenarios over the next 100 years. We've also recently included live webcams to get a visual overview of the lakes and information on the catchment more broadly, being land use or nitrogen or phosphorus inputs to the lakes. What's currently under construction and is a big part of the DMARC project, which we're currently working on, is to add additional alpine lakes. This was originally a Swiss project and has now recently expanded, including a model for cyano risk prevention, so for algae blooms in the lakes, and a bigger focus on water quality and on-demand products. Durability. I have to say your question prompts definitely made me think a bit more about what we were actually doing for durability, because I think a bit like Kappa before, Alp Lakes has been a classic research project and very project-based. It started in 2016 under a different name, Meteor Lakes, and was the product of a PhD thesis at EPFL. And at the end of that thesis, there was a web application which gave you access to 4 3D models for lakes in Switzerland. In 2019, this is probably the closest thing we have to durability. A permanent research software engineer was hired at Airbag, which is me. And so there was someone whose responsibility was maintaining and keeping these platforms up to date and online. 2022 to 2024, we had a project funded by ESA. This is where the Alp Lakes name now comes from, that massively expanded and rebuilt the website, adding more lakes and particularly focusing on adding satellite data and the connection between satellite data and the models. Last year, we started the DMARC project, which is not specifically focused on Alp Lakes, but will make use of Alp Lakes for its visualization needs and to make it user-friendly and accessible to the public. As part of this DMARC project, we are planning to establish a DMARC transitional network. Putting this in normal terms, this is just making sure that we have a wide user base that is engaging with the platform, that it's meeting the needs of the users, and assuming that we are continually getting enough engagement, enough users, the institutional motivation for continuing the platform stays there. Currently, in terms of funding and resources, the server costs and the maintenance costs are covered by Airbag, and there's no fixed future project funding after the project ends, and this tends to be on a project by project basis. There's the QR code if anyone's interested in looking at the site and seeing what the temperature of the closest lake is. Reflecting a bit on my recommendations, I think, at least in my experience through the Alp Lakes project, a focus on attractive UI and UX is a huge part of making something be used. Like, you can have the best data and the most useful data in the world, but if people are not inclined to dig for it, it will sit there and never be used. And I think that leads on to making a sustainable community. Understanding if people are using your platform, how they're using it, and why they're using it can really help drive future projects to make sure that, I mean, in the end, what we want is that what we build is useful to as many people as possible. One thing, maybe this is just a personal preference, but one of the conditions we have for Alp Lakes is open data. So if you want your lake, you want your data, you want to contribute to the project, this needs to be open. We have a lot of issues in science of closed data sets and people not wanting to share their data. And we're hoping that by providing people a framework that they can promote and visualize their data and their models, that people will be more willing to share.
Thank you very much, James, for it. I was just checking whether Lake Como was included, and it is.
Of course.
So, because it's very close to where I live. That said, once more, it is extremely interesting. It's very specific for researchers dedicated to lake water quality, water temperature, and the usability of the lakes. It is very interesting in this case that a specific job was created to maintain the platform itself. In this case, yours, which is great. That means that the platform was in fact responding to a specific need. In that case, from a Swiss agency. This is unfortunately not always the case, but with the platforms that have been presented today, the hydrogen one, the climate adaptation one, and also the cultural heritage in this one, thankfully it was the case that they actually responded to an actual need. And so they were maintained, that are in a good position to be maintained. Last but not least, I would move to the youngest member of this panel, coming from the EUSALP Youth Council, Claire Maurier. What do you have to say about platform that young people use and like? You also had a contest on platform, which, yeah.
I will talk about. So today I will talk about the open platforms, how we use it as young people, why we use it, and I will show you the examples of 2 open platforms that have been created thanks to a contest that is called Pitch Your Project. So it's a contest that is created by the EUSALP and supported by the region Bourgogne-Franche-Comté. And so each year there is 3 winners, and they have like some money prize to make their project grow and be sustainable. And so, wait, it's not working. Oh, maybe it's me. So the first platform is the Yoalin platform, and it comes from a project that was initially called Alptic. So the idea was to create tickets for young people in the Alpine region so that they could travel all over the Alpine region with really cheap tickets, because the idea is that sustainable tourism might be expensive because, as you all know, the train is more expensive than the plane. So they have been creating that kind of tickets, and now it has taken the form of Yoalin. So Yoalin is a project, I think it's been 2 or 3 years now, and they offer 250 people a free ticket to travel in the Alps. And apart for this project, they have also made an interactive map. So this is the open platform that I am showing there. And so in this interactive map, you have all the regions that the travelers have been traveling to. So, and then they can put their sightseeing, their experience. So you have different items for hikings, for cultural places, for places that they loved. And so each year they are making some actualization. I'm not sure it's the English word, but so they are updating the platform. And I think it's a really valuable input for us because it allows to have the experience of young people in the Alps. And it's really valuable because, as you know, we have like tourist guides for the Alp region, but those guides are mostly written by older people who might have like more money than us, some different center of interest. And with that kind of platform, we get the experience from people that are more like us, meaning less money, more closely related center of interest. So this is a really, really nice initiative. Then the second one initiative is also one that won the Picture Project prize. So it was called initially My Cabin, and now if you look at it on the internet, it doesn't appear like that anymore, and it is called Nomady because the two sites have merged. So I think it was created by a group of German young people, and the idea was to create a platform where you could register your house if you have one in the Alps. And then the other people, they could go to your house. And so for you, it will make you a little bit of money. And for the people who are going to the Alps, it was a cheap way of accommodation. So it's kind of an Airbnb platform, but for the Alps and for natural sightseeing. So here I have showed what kind of housing you can have in the area. So it's mostly like camp stuff. But what you can see is that it's really cheap. It's like 30 euros a night. So for the region, I think it is really, really cheap. You look at the price of the hotel and it's not the same. So, and then I wanted to talk about another platform, which is not at all a platform created by young people, but a platform that we mostly use also. I use it, and I know that other friends use it. And maybe you also know it and use it. So it's called AllTrail. And so this platform has the great advantage that it can show you all the trails and all the hiking that you can do in a region. And I think it is really a valuable input for young people because hiking can be a little bit difficult and you can be afraid of that because we use Google Map all the time. and sometimes we don't know how to read a real map. So with AllTrail, then you can have like some ideas of hiking. You can have some photos to get inspired. You can also have like some comments and some ranking, so grades of the hike. So it is really an interesting input. So for me, it's a platform that has a valuable input for young people because it allows us to go hiking without knowing how to read a map, which is the case of a lot of young people, I think, in my generation, sadly. And also, like, it's
You never used maps to go around like we did in the older times with paper maps, so I can understand that.
you don't know how to use it?
No, I know that unfortunately because I'm old.
Yeah.
But young people would not use
No, exactly.
be so used to do that.
So this is why it's really a cool platform. And then I really agree with all that have been said at the beginning. So the stake is to make it durable, to make it attractive to young people. And so I think the platform that we used faced the same challenge, and that the most important thing is that the info that we get there must be up to date. Because if you go on a platform and you see that all the info dates from like 2 or 3 years ago, then you won't find it attractive. So that's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Clara, for this overview of platforms that are actually appealing, but also used by young people. I especially like the idea of a platform built by the same people who use it. So they have the same needs. We saw that before, a platform made by researchers being used by researchers, platform made by young people being used by young people because they have the same needs and the same goals. And it's incredibly interesting. We have incredibly 5 minutes more before going to the main room. So are there any other comments on this, on how to make this platform useful, usable? Also from the people who are attending to the meeting, if you have any comments to what has been presented, please.
Okay. Hi, I'm Martina Nardelli from G3 from the autonomous province of Trento. I'm actually new in this role because before I was working at university level, especially with students. So I understand why platforms and especially open platforms and open data are really important at this time for especially for young people. And what I think what I learned from this workshop is how the political endorsement is important for running this platform and you know, let them durable in the years and not because most of them are project based. So it's like 2-3 years. And then if you don't find other funding, this can be a pity. So I think that political or public administration endorsement and funding is really important at this point for this kind of platforms.
I definitely agree. We had the example from the region of Lombardy, Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, AG8, so on and so forth. Of course, in Switzerland, the Federal Institute for Aquatic Science and Technology. I also put down some further notes on this, beyond the political commitment and financing and political anchoring. The fact that the platforms need to be participatory, open, with an open approach, and also open to cooperation, content sharing, market sharing with other platform, other projects in order to cross-fertilize one another. The platforms need to be high quality, like the platforms that were presented today. Technically valid, useful for research, useful for policymaking, useful for the citizens and the users. I also like the idea that platforms can have scalable content, like with different levels of approach, depending on how deep you want to go in your platform. You want a quick response or you want to delve into more data and more details. And also the platform, such is the case for young people, need to be done by the same people who use it at the end, being them researchers or young people in general, citizens or public servants, and so forth. So this is what I'm going to say to the open to the plenary session. If you agree with that, or do you have any other inputs? Maybe Cassiano, Sarah, or Wolfgang from online?
Oh, you did a great resume of everything, so thank you very much.
Oh, thank you all. And I think we are expected to move there in 4 minutes, so take your time. And thank you so much for your participation, for your presentation. It's been a pleasure working
Thank
with
you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for allowing us to be present online.
Yeah, of course. And see you in the
Great.
plenary. Stay with us for
Yeah. All right.
15 minutes
See
more
you.
or 20 minutes more.
Ciao.
Will do.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.